Solaris, the sailing ship of the kingdom of Hiva, sleeps inside the mountain. When thunder rumbles in the depths of the earth, the seals will break and the Solaris of Hiva will be born again in the sea. A French-Japanese animated series, The Mysterious Cities of Gold, was an historical adventure series with science fiction fantasy elements, loosely based on the Scott Odell novel The King's Fifth. The series was written by Jean Chalopin and Bernard Desrosiers, produced by MK, NHK, CLT and DIC Audio Visuel, and had animation by Studio Pierrot. It was first broadcast in 1982. It was first broadcast in Great Britain in 1986, when Philip Schofield was still in the broom cupboard, in more ways than one. Those of us who, as children, watched the golden condor fly off into the sunset at the series' conclusion may be surprised to learn that a sequel series of 3 seasons was produced 30 years later. In this video though, we are going to assess a single aspect of the original series, the Solaris, a solar-powered ship that features in only 4 of MCOG's 39 episodes. And if you like this video, then press the like button, share it on social media, the video, not the like button, and subscribe to this channel. If you don't like this video, then press the dislike button. Share it on social media, the video, not the dislike button, although you can give it a go if you want, and subscribe to the channel anyway. In design, the Solaris has a very wide beam, a prominent prow-mounted figurehead, a ram, and a tall, elaborate stern post. The hull shape is not the usual boat shape or even canoe shape, and its cross-section is reminiscent of the SS Great Britain. We can suppose that if the Solaris was real, its metacenter or center of flotation would be high, meaning it would roll excessively. Worth noting are curious rows of dark rectangular shaped recesses running down its length to port and starboard, which are not explained in the series. On its weather deck there is a long wooden platform. A single mast rises aft of amidships, and there is a deck house, atop which is a pilot house. The appearance of the Solaris beneath the waterline is pretty much anyone's guess. The single sail is square-rigged, which Mendoza rightly believes to be too small to give the Solaris much speed. But as we soon discover, the Solaris has secrets, one of which involves propulsion. Once the gold cube in the hold is properly activated, and as long as there is daylight, the Solaris can use solar power to propel itself by mechanical oars. How terribly useful! How big is the Solaris? Well, have you ever tried to measure a house using a measuring tape made of rubber? Obviously you wouldn't, because that would be weird. It would also be rather frustrating, just like any attempt to measure the Solaris. In a previous video, The Odyssey of Ulysses 31, we faced what I called the state of animated flux, in which an animated object does not remain real-world consistent in its dimensions and shape. The Odyssey was straightforward. The Solaris is all over the shop. Compare this image of Mendoza standing on the prow, and this nearly head-on shot again with Mendoza. then consider that the eyes of the figurehead are windows. Here we see Esteban and Zia sitting in chairs gazing out of those very same eyes. If we compare shots of the Solaris alongside the Galeon, we can suppose a maximum size. The dimensions of the Galeon are suggested in a few images, and a length of 100 feet from prow to stern post is not unrealistic for a galleon of the 1530s. The San Salvador, which explored the coast of California in the 1540s, is believed to have been 100 feet in length. The Solaris is, at least in some shots, 6.5 times the galleon's length, perhaps 7. So the heathen vessel must be between 600 and 700 feet long, comparable to some of the larger dreadnought battleships that graced the First World War, such as the Queen Elizabeth class. When the Solaris initially converts from sail to solar, we see about 5 hatches open from what is likely to be the hold up to the top of the pilot house, so there is a minimum of 5 decks, not including the hold. And the interiors we see have generous headroom. 600 or 700 feet, therefore, seems reasonable. The Queen Elizabeth class dreadnoughts displaced over 30,000 tons, but they were heavy armoured warships, whilst the Solaris is clearly a lighter vessel. We might speculate a displacement of under 10,000 tons. All this, though, is an upper limit, and we must remember the state of animated flux. At times, the Solaris seems to be only half this size, perhaps only 300 feet. Like Tao's jar and Tao himself, the Solaris is an artifact of, in the English dub at least, the lost civilization of Hiva, which effectively stands in for the legendary lost continent of Mu. When our adventurers first find it, the ship is buried inside a particular headland of Tao's Island, which is itself somewhere close to the Galapagos archipelago. Why anyone would bury a useful ship with a prophesied catastrophe on the way is unknown, but seemingly that is what the King of Hiva ordered done. It is the job of the Solaris to carry our heroes to the continent of South America on their quest to find the cities of gold. It takes a minimum of 3 days for the Solaris to reach the west coast of the new continent. If Tao's Island really is one of the 127 islands making up the Galapagos, then the distance would be some 560 miles, or 900 kilometers. Therefore, we can suppose the average speed of the Solaris, using sail and then solar, is 8 knots, which is comparable to Sir Francis Drake's Golden Hind, or as Edmund Blackadder called it, his Golden Behind. The hatches from which the oars sprout are, in some shots, dangerously close to the waterline. If we keep in mind its hull shape, then the Solaris is likely to roll significantly in rough weather, dipping the oar hatches underwater at times. If those hatches are open, then the Solaris would be a doomed ship. You might reply by pointing out that rough weather would mean the solar sail would be stored away, the oars stowed safely inside with the hatches closed, and the Solaris would be using only its sail. But the ocean can run high even in sunny clear weather, so the threat remains. As it is though, the Solaris is blown up by Tao in an effort to destroy the Spanish galleon. What a terrible waste!